Hi, this is Tarot Combos, where we take 2 cards and talk about the energies and how they work against or challenge each other. So let's see what's here with us today. This is the Mystical Moments Tarot. I always forget the names of them. I like the artwork, or else I wouldn't have it. So we have the Sun. I love the sun. Doo-doo-doo-doo. And then challenged by the Four of Wands. I think we've gotten the Four of Wands in the challenge position recently. What is that saying? I love a repeat, because what's it wanting us to get? The universe, that is. I don't know. Whatever's out there driving this thing. So we have the Sun challenged by the Four of Wands. The Sun is like that. It's so much because it's major arcana, but to me it means positivity, but it means like the fullest expression of our authenticity. And I talked in the last one about alignment. So something here is like calling us to look at authenticity as something that's very important. So there's that challenged by like happy events, happiness. And I wonder, like, to me, this is like almost like the motivations behind what we take our happiness to be, or what our ideas of happiness are. It's like to me, what I'm feeling into this is like the motivations that drive everything in our lives toward that ideal that we have of what happiness means in our lives, what fulfillment means, if you want to say fulfillment, and then how might those motivations get in the way. Like, usually you want to question your motivations, which means questioning your ideals. How might that get in the way of natural, fullest expression of our authenticity, which when we can fully express it, it does feel like the ultimate happiness, doesn't it? So it's like, what are maybe these preconceived ideas or motivations that we've taken in or have been planted into us, implanted, that might challenge the way we like naturally express ourselves, or prevent us from expressing what we truly desire. It almost feels like, well, there's some ideas that were like, it's like when I say the motivations, it's almost like the undercurrent of the subconscious belief system, maybe, or like, because this feels like belief and like those internal motivators that we don't know we have sometimes until we like, whoa, where's this coming from? Is it even mine anymore? So something's asking us to kind of question our motivators. And I don't think I've said that before, but like with this feels like those, when you say you're passionate about something, or like you're really driven toward like something, you have a driver, you have something that's like a fire in you, and it's like, wait, is that true anymore for me? Is that mine? Is it something that I've just said is there, but is it really mine? Does it feel real to me, authentic, like coming from me? Because this is all about your fullest expression of who you are unapologetically. And this is a little bit like, I thought I wanted those things. That was my story. Like, I thought who I was and what I wanted and what would make me happy. And it's like, something's asking us to just question it. You may still end up and say, yep, nope, we're good. That's what I wanted. Great. But usually this type of thing wouldn't show up unless it's like, do you really want that? And for me, like, what is it for you? And sometimes, God dang it, I feel like this is hard. It's hard everything's hard. But like questioning the deep seated assumptions we have. That's what another word for motivators maybe is like, are just assumptions. And those, I feel like, are so challenging to bring into the light, to really see clearly, because they are just it feels like the water we swim in. It feels like the air we breathe. It feels like who we are, you know, just like, and then it's almost, I think I've said this before, but it's coming to me now. Like, if we pretend we're like not us, and maybe if we pretend we're not even human, and like you act out maybe who you are as if you were an alien. Oh my God, there are these two guys online. Maybe that's why it's coming to me. They have these videos where they dress up as aliens and they say, I'm a human. And then they say stuff like, they just say naturally what we humans are doing day in, day out, but because they're dressed as aliens, mocking us, like, I'm a human, I do this. Then it's like, it holds a mirror up to our faces, like how ridiculous we are as humans. Like, I'm a human, I invented money, and I pay taxes. And like, like it goes beyond that. They are way funnier and they make better points. But that's what I'm talking about, is like, sometimes that might help, right? To be like, pretend, I kind of want to do this. I'm Elizabeth, and I do this, and I expect this, and like, and that might maybe shed some light on like how ridiculous, like maybe like, oh my God, I do have these just underlying assumptions to what I do or what I believe I want. And it's like, but no, what do I really want? I think that's the phase of life I'm in now, is like cracking myself open to like what my most authentic, aligned self would do in this world. You know, it's like, dang it, took 48 years to get to this point. Like, what if I had been doing it 20 years ago? Who cares? I don't even really care about that anymore, because it's never too late. And I truly believe that. So it's like, okay, now that I've lived all this life experience, great. I mean, I've learned a lot. And what would the fully aligned version of me do or be? And then what would they feel like their happiness is, you know? And if I could just maybe take myself out of myself, put on an alien suit and be like, I'm Elizabeth, and like show my own hypocrisy or my own just goofy like stupidness about like what I take to be important. That's what's coming to me, is like, what do you just want to let go that it really is not important? Because I feel like we are our authentic selves always. It's just like, what is in the way of seeing that? What is in the way? And sometimes I feel like what we take as like our underlying assumptions about what we think is important in life, it just needs to be like set to the side, even if just for a moment, and say, okay, without that assumption, what do I feel? Does it feel like something has dropped away that is revealing something more true underneath? And now I need to go think on that. I don't think this is an example I'm going to have for you just off the top of my head. This is like some deep, soul-searching, revelatory stuff I feel coming up. So, this could be good. That's when you know you've hit a good question. And a question is like different for everybody. So you may not be feeling this, but like, what I feel like assumption is like the key word with this. What are those underlying assumptions that are your driver in life, your MO, your motivators? And it feels like, you know, an assumption is just it feels like a part of who we are. Like, these are the things I assume to be true. These are the things I assume to be true about me. Are they? Probably not. And when we can drop all assumptions, isn't it such a liberating feeling of like, whoosh. I guess I'll say something that I'm dropping, and it's hard lately, like this idea of, like I mentioned it a little bit in one of the last videos, dealing with my family stuff. I'm like, finally, all this stuff's coming to the surface to look at. Yes, even though it's hard. One of them is like being the smart one, being the one who has the capacity and the answers to do things, to and then that leads into like being the martyr and being watchful on that, to be like, what are my motivations for stepping into the role, who has the capacity, who has the smarts, that that can do something. And it's like, there's been that, and I feel like that's generational and that's ancestral for me. Is like, then it gets dysfunctional into perfectionism and burnout and all the things. Like, I'm connecting all my dots. So, and it's on both sides of my family, and so I know there's an assumption. There's like so many baked in assumptions around that I'm questioning. And a lot of times it takes like, for me, um like the ego has this, like, my ego sometimes will be like, like it feels like that kind of energy, like, oh God. It's like my ego holding my eyeballs open in the mirror going, look at yourself. and like and then the ego is also the one that's trying to hide from itself. It's so trippy when you're willing to like go down that path. My whole life though, I've been like, nope, not gonna feel it, not gonna look at it. Every time it would get close to the surface, oh, that's not me. And it wasn't just not wanting to look at it. It was like, really, I had my own whole other story about myself. Like, it was just like, I am this person. I am like super, what do you call it? Driven. I'm a driven person, independent, blah, 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 blah. All the stories. And so the underlying, like, there are things now I'm looking at that are really hard. But I know at the end of the day, like, to look, like, once you cross that threshold, I don't know why that's such a funny image to me of like the ego. Like, it's like how do you, what's funny is there's like the ego doesn't want to die, right? And yet, whenever we're using our mind to do something, it's like perpetuating the illusion that we need the ego, like we need it to solve problems. And yet we're trying to say, but you're the problem, and you can't. Like, it's so funny. And thank you to you who gave that example in a recent comment that said using a thorn to remove a thorn. Because what's trippy about that? I'm gonna make, I just haven't had time to reply to comments, but no, I read them and I so appreciate them, because your insights are like, oh, they just help keep pulling back my onion layers. And because we're co-creating this universe. So that same day I heard that same analogy, trippy enough, that earlier that day I was just like, wah. So I know that that's like something I like to think about, is the mind is so funny about how we use it and to what end. How far can we go by using the mind, right? And it's only so far, because the ego's not going to kill itself. And not that that should be the end goal, but it's the idea that, I like to think about it as like, not like you get to a non-reactionary place, and like the ego likes to make problems so it can solve it. So if I can get to a place where I'm no longer creating my own problems, then there's nothing for that ego to do other than just be a useful tool for me in the world when I need it. So that's kind of like how I like to frame things up. Because trying too hard has been something I do, with like underlying assumptions fueling that, trying so hard as if I can make stuff happen, or and it's not even about making stuff happen, because I feel like I've been making not stuff happen in my life, and I want to start making stuff happen from a healthy place. So it's like all the underlying assumptions, I was like, well, here are all these ideas of happiness, and they don't resonate with me. And so I've been this person of like, kind of like a little rebel in a way against traditional ideas of happiness, when it's like, well, if I really stop assuming I'm the rebel and the martyr and the smart one and the capable one and all all the things that I've identified with. And the thing is, I don't identify as a martyr, but I acted like the martyr. And I'm like, ooh, that's a gross, cringy thing. That's been the hard thing to look at. And it's like, that thorn analogy feels really relevant to something like that, of like, yeah, like even down to like being the one who, like identifying as somebody who is willing to look at things in order to dissolve them, feels like, well, look how clever I'm being, right? Look how clever. And it's not, even now, I don't judge, like, there's no judgment against people who don't do that, because sometimes I'm like, as things keep dissolving, and and the person who goes through this journey just ends up right back in the normal world of like, did anything even happen? I do feel more at peace, but did anything even happen? Did even anything need to happen? And the ego is just the one that says, oh, this needs to happen. Look how clever you are. And look what we're doing and all this work. And we're getting better. And it's so crazy. So I kind of went off the rails a little bit. But to me, it's all like this idea of like, what is alignment? What is the most authentic expression of me in this life, in this lifetime? And to me, even like I'll just say, I create all these stories about what journey I'm going on, what I'm doing, why I'm even doing these videos. Like, it's all storytelling and fun and play. And then at the end of the day, sometimes I feel like nothing needs to happen. Nothing at all there's nothing to be done, because there's nothing to solve. There's no problem here. Nothing needs to happen at all. And yet the part of me was like, but yeah, but as long as there's this feeling of not in alignment happening based on underlying assumptions, I'm going to look at it. And then it's like, then there's a feeling of like, oh, something's happening, something's being done. But as long as I don't try too hard or attach too hard, that's been my journey of like, don't make something out of nothing. Don't make something out of nothing. Maybe I'll just end on that. So anyway, what is it for you? I went on a lot of different incoherent paths, I'm sure, during this video, but it's a constant thing. I'm like, the alignment thing, yes. That's what one of my happenings is right now in this phase of life, is like, I think to me, okay, let me just go a little bit longer just because I have time. It feels like one of those, like, well, it's about freaking time, that I stop being the people pleaser and stop catering to these, to stop living in fear that I'm being judged, or and I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but like these perceptions of like, what role am I playing? Am I playing it right? And I've just felt like an Eddie Izzard thing there. But there's, I don't even know why I said that, but that's like, it's about freaking time to get into the driver's seat, of my own life. So that's, to me, what alignment feels like, is like, well, what does it mean to be in the driver's seat? About manifesting the life I was meant to live. Like, sounds so cheesy, but you know what I mean. Like, if we are the main character in our own story, then there's the only thing to be is our fullest expression of our authenticity. Who is the main character? Who are you? I want to see you in your fullest. Even not just all the good stuff, but your fullest expression of yourself. And if you're in alignment with who you take, it's like what feels right in your bones. not all of that might feel right in my bones. And so there may be this perception of like, well, that's not how I would do it, and vice versa. But in your bones, you feel like, yes, this is me. And in my bones, I feel like, yes, this is me. Then we can be in our bones together. And it's not just all the good feelings, you know what I mean? It's not just the like abandoning parts of ourselves to cater to other people's like comfort. I'm going to end there. Yeah, bye.